So this will be a best-of-5 match. It's going to be tough to top the excitement of the men's doubles final, but you never know. Korean pair bringing it home over the Europeans before. Japanese pair Hina Hayata here with the serve. Flat hit on the forehand of Mima Ito. Interestingly enough, that's the side that generates more spin, but she's very comfortable to just flat hit the ball when it sits up a little bit. And in this case, it looked like it didn't come up at all. SHAN Xiaona with a quality flip wide to the forehand, and Mima Ito anticipates and just slaps it back. That's that high toss serve. They don't come much higher than that. Could hear the crowd start to ooh and ah as the ball just sailed up towards the lighting. Wow. Now, one advantage of tossing, I guess there are a few advantages of tossing the ball that high. One is you can generate more spin as the ball picks up speed on its way down. But as you saw in SHAN Xiaona's last serve, even though the toss was off to the side, you're not going to get called because it is nearly vertical because the toss is so high. It's quite impressive that SHAN Xiaona was still able to win the point with that serve as wide as she accidentally tossed the ball. Strong angles. Both sides here have the left-handed, right-handed combination. So we can expect to see more forehands in this match than we did in the men's doubles final. At the first towel break, the German pair leading 4 points to 2. And while SHAN Xiaona loves to flat hit with those short pips, she can also spin the ball. 2 points in a row, she does so, covering the middle. Now, while there were a lot of disadvantages to the one-sided pen hold game, the traditional Chinese pen hold that SHAN Xiaona uses, one advantage is covering the middle. The crossover point, you're not actually turning the racket around, so you can block the, I'd say you can block the ball more consistently from right in front of the body, or in front of the elbow, rather. But of course, the backhand side much weaker. But not for SOLJA. The shake hands backhand loop right there, right off the bounce. SOLJA up to the task and ready for the pace. See TV Tokyo in the background, following the young Japanese players who've risen to celebrity and stardom. SOLJA very strong right now in the counter punch. It's a bit more aggressive than a block, but she's in just the perfect position and still can change the angle and play it parallel. Little break off the top of the net, but good touch from SOLJA in the push game. SOLJA doesn't seem surprised by anything right now. She's always in the right position. That's just an excellent inside-out forehand flip from Hayata. A lot of people were wondering yesterday, me included actually, what it was that Hina Hayata was rubbing on herself, on her hand, on her leg. And it was to sort of loosen up and help her breathe as well. Of course, on the hand more so. 11-4, dominant game one for the German pair of SHAN Xiaona and Petrissa SOLJA. Hina Hayata and Mima Ito have their work cut out for them, but we've seen all sorts of turnarounds after game one. Throughout this tournament, there have been many upsets and unpredictable results. And just a reminder for those of you just tuning in for your first day of competition today, that they are using a new ball out here. Many players on the World Tour were not quite satisfied with the ball quality and how often they would crack, or how they weren't quite as consistent off the table. But these ones are a bit harder, the D40 Plus. I've had the opportunity to play with them, a bit heavier, a bit harder. They don't spin quite as much, so the rally should be a little bit longer. And the bounce is a little bit higher. which means the ball is going to carry a bit more, go a bit faster. You'll see some spectacular rallies, and they're also just more consistent, so players are going to be able to keep the ball in play in the counter looping rallies. But the pushes tend to stay short. Interestingly enough, the grittiness of the ball biting the table. Again, for both of these teams, they had a day of rest yesterday. That's the same on the men's side for doubles players. But to make it this far in the tournament, they've had their days and days in the training hall, the practice hall here, to get familiar with the ball. So it's the high tosser SHAN Xiaona with the German pair to serve, leading 1-0 over the young Japanese. Touch everywhere, and it's Mima Ito to finish it. For me, the ball that impressed me most was Hina Hayata to recover it from below the table. Look at this shot right off the, just above the ground, barely. We've seen Xu Xin make swooping shots like that from time to time. Forehand flip kill, SOLJA like nobody's business coming through. It's a drive-by shooting on the forehand side. Just a bullet. Tied right back up at 2 points each. Coach Mika Baba there in the corner. Like she was maybe in the middle of writing something. Well-placed serve from SOLJA deters the attack on the receive. First towel break, and neither pair goes for their towel. Now this is the power we saw from the backhand of Hina Hayata yesterday, but stepping around, much more common for left-handed players to turn the corner, use the forehand on the backhand side. Just goes to show you that Hina Hayata is prepared, just has a very versatile game. It's part of the reason we're going to see her continue to climb in the world rankings. Hina Hayata, at 16 years old, is currently world ranked number 21. Her teammate, Mima Ito, currently world ranked number 8 at 16 years old. Not too many players right now can say they're world ranked number 8 and only twice as old as their world ranking. Well, Vladimir Samsonov for some time could have said that he was more than 4 times his world ranking. No! No, that didn't just happen. SOLJA can't even believe it. Look at that. Blushing, as hard as that ball is hit, she's like a wall just staying right there. This is November of 1989. Look at this, Germany. The wall does not come down here, though. So much power. SOLJA raises the racket. Unbelievable shot.
6-5.
SOLJA's on fire right now. You know, we talked yesterday, and I guess just yesterday, about how 1 point really only equals 1 point, whether it's a forehand counter loop, a lob. But psychologically, when you're Hina Hayata and Mima Ito, and you earn such a high ball that you can hit anywhere on the table, as hard as you can, and the opponent manages to get it back. I mean, that wasn't bad placement from Hayata. Sometimes with a high ball, hitting it right at the opponent jams them up, especially if they're backing off the table. It's just a little bit more on the backhand wing, and SOLJA with a scarring backhand. Just branding the memory of that point into the brains of her opponent. But a nice recovery. Hayata seems to be back. Loops it down the line. Encouragement from women's coach Mika Baba of Japan, several-time national champion herself growing up in Japan. And finally, SOLJA showing that she's human. Deep push from Hayata. SOLJA hasn't seemed rushed too much so far in this match. Oh, right on top of the bounce. Mima Ito takes it early. Risky shot, but she's very strong at this. Some smiles of satisfaction to accompany a 2-point lead. Little bit of hesitation. It seemed like SOLJA trying to just make sure that she got the ball into play. But a 75% loop or an 80% loop from that far back isn't going to bother Mima Ito. Heavy topspin ball. Talked about mental maturity and how Timo Boll in this tournament has showed that he's so comfortable to spin it from below the table. With smiles like this, you actually have to wonder if Mima Ito's still in this game right here. Sometimes you see players celebrate a little bit early and lose focus. You heard the Gomen there. Apology from Hina Hayata. With the push coming a little long, allowing Petrissa SOLJA to get that opening attack so strong on the forehand side. Wow. Germans over the table, coming back. Suddenly the smiles, not quite the same. Looks a little bit more like pressure building up, a little bit of stress combined with focus. Hina Hayata, 1 game point left. Outstanding push from SOLJA to start it off, and SHAN Xiaona continues the rally. The German pair with 3 points in a row. Again, tightrope walkers. The last 3 steps are the most common where people fall. Getting to the other side of the finish line here really takes focus the whole way through. It's not over until it's over. But similarly, coming back to deuce after 3 points in a row isn't enough. Still have to take a 2-point lead over the opponents, and the Japanese pair earn another game point. Some interesting hand signals there from Hayata calling for the serve. Outstanding recovery. SHAN Xiaona chasing down that forehand from Mima Ito. Or hitting the forehand back off of Mima Ito's shot, rather. Players asked to play, not delay too much. Second deuce point of the game. Germans back in the lead, another game point. Remember, they were down 7-10, but both sides might have learned their lessons, I'd say, about losing focus, getting too confident for a moment, forgetting that it's not over. And the strawberry, the backhand strawberry, beautiful receive. Petrissa SOLJA, little high five after coming back from down 7-10 against the young Japanese pair. Now, the Japanese pairing is a new pairing. They're trying up a lot of different pairings. We've seen Miu Hirano and Kasumi Ishikawa pair up recently. It seems like they're testing things out. Of course, with the upcoming World Championships next month in Dusseldorf, Germany. All national associations are getting ready, focusing hard, and that's why we see a lot of the strong players at this tournament outside of China. It's the last tournament on the World Tour before the World Championships. Now, a lot of people ask about that necklace that Mima Ito is wearing. And if I remember correctly, she said it's one of her sponsors, and it's one of those energy necklaces. Supposed to help with balance and some other details I'm not quite that familiar with, but hopefully that answers your curiosity and your questions. As far as doubles goes, Mima Ito with Miu Hirano. This is where they really rose to fame. 13 years old in Germany, I believe the youngest ever to win a doubles title, or maybe a title on the World Tour. A few of the specifics you can find on ITTF.com. Sorry for not having the exact. But at the World Tour Grand Finals the year later, 2014 in Bangkok, Thailand, Miu Hirano and Mima Ito took the title. So very impressive career already for the 16-year-old, waiting for the third ball, playing with Hina Hayata. Solid flip right into the middle from SHAN Xiaona. Excellent underspin serve from Hina Hayata. Now, another thing a lot of people don't realize is that SHAN Xiaona only has rubber on one side of the racket, which is completely legal. You just have to have one side red and one side black. So she puts a red sticker on the backhand side. Which makes the racket quite light, especially if someone's using a carbon. Many different materials that can make the racket light.
1-3.
Petrissa Solja has so many different skill sets that make her game quite difficult. She can generate a lot of spin. She can generate power from both sides. But she seems to know how to vary it. Vary the spin so that it is unpredictable, when to use a spinnier shot and slow it down a little bit.
2-3.
If that shot comes down, it's going to be tough, but just long. Hayata and Ito chasing, just trailing by 1 point with their second serve. Petrissa Solja coming from a table tennis family. Everyone in her family plays. Her sister playing for Austria, Amelie Solja. And Petty, Petrissa Solja actually said that even her dog plays. Loves to get up on the table, jump around when the family is playing. Excellent finisher. The rally back and forth, and finally Mima Ito finding it's the wide forehand again. That can be difficult for left-handed players. But against anybody, an angle like this, it's going to be trouble. You can understand why Solja would move to the other side for a moment. Looked like Ito could have gone down the line. Chop block and so much power. Hina Hayata has it. We saw it early on yesterday in her match. While Solja made the ball a second time in a row. Again, for those of you a little newer to table tennis, the shots have to be alternating for the doubles pairs. Perfectly placed to the middle. Ito very focused right now. We saw her start the match with more flat-hitting shots that were very effective. Made the first two in a row. But now spinning it a little bit, giving it a bit more insurance. Long ways to go here for both the German pair and the Japanese pair, but definitely less for the Japanese as they're leading by 4. Wow, Hina Hayata. This is the shot that the players can really appreciate. Right at the back of the table. Manages to still carefully get a spinny shot without hitting the table and still keeping the ball low to the net.
9-3.
Short pips punch with a little apology. Happened pretty quickly. Often see apologies for top of the net or edge of the table, breaking the rhythm, interfering with the natural trajectory of the ball. And a long push, but it didn't seem to fool Hina Hayata. She waited patiently to see what SOLJA was going to do. It's 7 game points for the young Japanese pair. Here's another look at the serve.
11-3.
And a dominant game from Mima Ito and Hina Hayata of Japan. 11-3. After losing the first game 11-4, they come around and have the most dominant performance that either team has seen in this match. It's one way to send a message. Coming into the 4th game, there's a bit of momentum, a bit of confidence that might be building up between the 16-year-olds from Japan. Now remember, SHAN Xiaona is older than both of the opponents combined. SHAN Xiaona currently world rank number 13 at 34 years old. Quite a statement of her experience. A lot of conversation about SOLJA's forehand loop. Trying to pay attention, you could hear a few words that might sound familiar as English speakers. For loop, saw a little bit of conversation about SHAN Xiaona's penhold block from the middle, counterattack covering the elbow. There was a talk in the early 90s about that style, the antiquated style that is being played by SHAN Xiaona, being retired from the Chinese national team. It was Ma Lin who started to develop the reverse penhold backhand, RPB, using the other side of the racket, which you can see Wang Hao did so many years successfully. And currently, Xu Xin and Wang Chunting, pretty much the majority of male players playing penhold, doing the same, using the reverse side of the racket on the backhand side. SHAN Xiaona with a bit of a chop block, a little bit more of a punch on the backhand side, but a little side spin on it here. Well-focused Hina Hayata hangs in there, spins the ball before going down to the ground. First 2 points split, 1 point apiece as Hina Hayata serves. Break off the top of the net, and that huge stomp and that flat-hitting forehand doesn't come back. Doesn't get over the net in that sense. Bit of a break for the German pair. Beautiful play. Now this is one thing in doubles, thinking so far ahead. Mima Ito, as soon as she steps around that corner, is out of position, and Hina Hayata has the next shot. But it's going to take some time for Mima Ito to come back across, and SOLJA realizes that and quickly exploits the open forehand. Little frustration stretch there from Mima Ito. We saw a lot of that with Miu Hirano yesterday. Collapsing, going under the table for a bit. Timeout called by Coach Mika Baba in the corner. I feel like it wasn't that long ago that I remember Mima Ito smiling up 10-7. Very close to winning the game.
そのボールだけね、フォアで回った時だけ、フォアのボールの時だけ、ソルジャのフォア行くと、ソルジャが中継する。それを混ぜながら。
Coach Mika Baba speaking Japanese, hitting the microphone accidentally and saying sorry in English.
早田のサーブの時に、ソルジャに思いっきり何かチキータとかそういうのをされないように。あとは、
So talking about Hina Hayata's serve.
チキータされてバックにやる時は、伊藤がなんとか頑張れば次早田が取れるから。だからそのサーブのコンビネーションだけ早田に伊藤が注文して、それを気をつけて。さあこっから頑張れ。
頑張れ, go for it. Tried to pick up what I could, couldn't catch too much, but of course serve and receive, usually the conversation. With Hina Hayata serve getting ready for the third ball. Heard dake a lot. So it seemed that Mika Baba had some clear ideas about a few simple solutions. Just minor things that needed to be done, and only that. Those minor changes should be effective. Beautiful shot from Ito, and it's set up with the first loop from Hina Hayata. Once they get into the rally, it's going to be an open hitting spree here. Strong placement. SOLJA keeps the ball on the table, but a little bit more passively than usual. We've seen it a few times with the softer ball coming back that Ito just crushes the next one. Hayata with the big step around forehand loop. Pressure starting to build as the German pair now only leading by one. Oh, touch shot from SOLJA to finish it. Looking like a circus out here. Absolutely spectacular play. A few of these shots, can't believe they come back. Look at Hayata running it down about 4 steps before she can get a racket on it. And SOLJA plays it soft. It takes so much confidence to not hit that ball hard. And deep breaths. That's what you have to do sometimes to try and relax. But still fighting to come back. Another point for the young Japanese pair. Well played, SHAN Xiaona hitting it behind the momentum. Hina Hayata jammed up as she starts to move to the forehand and is forced to play a backhand. It's amazing the court sense, partially peripheral vision, but also understanding what is most likely to happen, where your opponent is going to go before they go there. That's why Timo Boll's always in position, it seems. Get ready for the pinky serve. Of course, different signals for different teams, often the pinky used for short serves. But it's really up to each pairing what is going to be what, and they agree on that beforehand. The start of this rally was too good. Big opening shot and counters when you've got the length of the table. You can see the ball hit so hard, countered back and forth. The second time, though, Ito just a little bit behind the table, isn't able to make the second shot. As the rally continues, players are going to have to move a bit more, end up chasing the ball, testing each other from off the table. Just more ground to cover the farther they get. That is a solid push from Mima Ito, and SHAN Xiaona quick to move. Again, 34 years old, but moving so quickly and still spinning the ball, keeping it low. Not the hardest shot we've seen from SOLJA, but still threatening enough to cause some trouble for Ito. 2 points away from a title, the Germans. Excellent placement, changes it up. Again, SHAN Xiaona starting to move. You can see Miu Hirano on the left of the screen in the stands with the rest of, well, some of the rest of the Japanese delegation. I think delegation is the appropriate word. More Japanese players here than any other nationality. Except maybe Korean, but they're fighting back. The two 16-year-olds from Japan now just within 2. Took the last 2 points, some very big points to build up pressure. There's that shovel serve from around the outside of the ball, and Hina Hayata's forehand. The receive was just not quality enough to give SOLJA much of a chance. Players warned to play. From deep behind the table, it's another attempted chop sort of punch with some side spin. We've got a timeout on the German side. Now this is a bit of a late timeout. When you've got a coach in the corner, tends to be a timeout a little bit earlier, trying to cut off the comeback, stop the bleeding, cauterize it. Now just a 1-point differential after being up 9-5. As well as the Germans have played together so far, and it's been quite impressive to watch. The movement of the young Japanese pair. Quite impressive.
Hallo, liebe Grüße nach Deutschland.
A shout out from Petrissa Solja to Germany. That is the funniest thing I have seen. Oh my goodness. Talking to each other in German here. Now my German's pretty weak. Of course we caught forehand and maybe flip or flick. There it is. Outstanding. Petrissa Solja is so funny. Even SHAN Xiaona. Now this is good. Sometimes you just need to relax. We've seen it where players come over to the corner and they're just too tense, they're too serious. They just, when you're relaxed, your muscles work better. The muscle memory, nothing is slowed down. Loosens you up a bit. Sort of gives you a clean slate to come back. Feels like 0-0. You forget that it's 9-8 and you lost the last 3 points. But the focus and the pressure is still there from the young Japanese pair who take another point, their 4th consecutive point. And after that shout out, you know that Petrissa Solja and SHAN Xiaona are going to want to bring this home for Germany. Come into the World Championships with a bit of momentum. Again, this is the last World Tour event before the World Championships coming up in Dusseldorf, which is sold out for almost every day, I believe. 9-9. Deep on the table, a quality loop. Impressive shot from HAYATA to get that heavy spin chop block, that punching chop block back from SHAN Xiaona. Championship point for the German pair. There it is, the forehand does it. It's the forehand that beat Ju Yuling in a beautiful hug of celebration. The Germans managed to do it, but not with ease, that's for sure. Mima Ito and Hina Hayata giving quite a fight, coming back from 5-9 with 4 points in a row. You can see the scores there. After an 11-3 victory for Hina Hayata and Mima Ito, a solid timeout for the German pair, and Deutschland is going to be quite happy. The shout out, the prophecy is fulfilled. Our women's doubles champions are Petrissa Solja and SHAN Xiaona of Germany. You'll get a chance to see them on the podium later at the awards ceremony. Stick around, we've got the women's singles final coming up with Feng Tianwei and Kasumi Ishikawa. Just after this, you're watching the Seamaster 2017 ITTF World Tour Korea Open.